Charles Haley. You're listening to Nothing But Niners.
This is Kyle Juszczyk, and you're listening to Nothing But Niners.
So now they've got to start from deep in their end of the field, and Garrison Hurst takes advantage of it. He takes the handoff, hits to his right, gets to the 20. He's in the 30, needs to cut in. He comes back up the right sideline, breaks the third tackle, comes down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 10. He's down to the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown! 49ers! 96-yard run from scrimmage. Garrison Hurst breaking tackle after tackle. Swings down the sideline. Throws off bodies like clothes after a marathon.
Young, back to throw. In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again, to the 35, cuts back at the 30, to the 20, the 50, the 10. He died. Touchdown, 49ers.
Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking down in post, and it's good. Touchdown! Touchdown, 49ers!
It is second down. Ryan takes the snap, throws the slant to the left side. It's Russell intercepted. The 49ers pick it, and Navarro Bowman is redemption. Navarro Bowman running it all the way for the touchdown. No greater redemption.
The San Francisco 49ers, we can do whatever we want.
Click, click, boom. What is going on, faithfuls? It's your boy Mike from the Nothing But Niners crew. Sorry, that was a little low. And I'm here to bring you guys another fun-filled episode, man. I know, guys, Thursday Night Football is on right now. We got a divisional battle going on right now between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. And so I appreciate all of you guys that are here watching this one live. Now, I expect more people to come back and watch this later on, but we are going to be doing some press breakdowns here, okay? Today, the 49ers got a chance to hear from John Lynch. We got to hear from Robert Saleh. We got to hear from Klay Kubiak. So we're going to play all three of those pressers. I'm going to break down any nuggets that stand out to me. If nothing stands out, then it'll be a short, sweet show. All right, but you guys know how I give it up over here. And also, we got special announcements before we go ahead and get this thing started there. Before we get this thing started here, I want to also let you guys know that starting next week, I'm going to be highlighting one of the loyal supporters of the Nothing But Niners YouTube channel. You could also be a Patreonian as well. But we are going to start picking someone once a week to come on and just tell us about yourself, right? We pride ourselves on being a show here for the fans and by the fans, right? That's how this whole thing started here at Nothing But Niners. And I wanted to continue in that tradition. This isn't going to be some call-in show where everyone's on screen and I'm rushing you guys off. It's going to be a 20 to 30-minute show dedicated to one person and highlighting them, their fandom. If they have anything cool they want to show on air, any amazing 49ers stories or how they became fans and all that stuff, we're going to do those kind of things here. And then obviously we're going to talk some Niners ball, right? Just a little bit of Niners ball as well. But it's going to be my chance to get to know you guys, all right? So I'm very, very excited to announce that. We're going to be starting that again next week. So I'm looking forward to it. So all you people out there in the chat, Leslie, Blackbeard, Alejandro, like you guys be ready because that's what the show is going to be about. So hopefully if you guys are interested, you guys can come on. Now, I will say this also. A lot of people don't like being on camera. And, guys, I am okay with that, all right? If you can get somewhere with good reception, we could do it on the phone also. It could just be your voice. And I'll take care of the graphics and all that stuff so that people stay entertained and locked in, okay? But anyway, let me go ahead and get to the formalities here so we can go ahead and get to these pressers, all right? If this is your first time here on the YouTube channel and you enjoy what you're seeing and hearing, please do me a favor and give the video a thumbs up. After you do that, subscribe to the channel and then turn on your notifications so you know exactly when we're going live. We bring you guys a lot of impromptu shows. We don't always follow the script as far as what time we're going to start. And so those notifications are going to be your best way of knowing exactly when we're going live. I lost my pop filter on my microphone. I just realized it now. Here we go. All right. Some other social media platforms we want you guys to give us a follow on. Let's start with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Those handles are Nothing But Niners. That's spelled all the way out. No numbers in there anywhere. Please make sure you guys go over there and give us a follow. Again, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. Those handles are Nothing But Niners. Now, if you're watching on Twitch right now and you are on Nothing But Niners as it presents on the screen here, spaces in between the words, cool. Once that bye week gets here, that channel will not get any more new content. So make sure you guys head on over to the other Nothing But Niners Twitch channel, and that is nothing_but_Niners. Spelled the same way, but there's underscores instead of spaces, all right? We also have Snapchat and X. Those handles are Nothing But 9 ERS, okay? So make sure you guys please head on over there and show us some love as well. Snapchat and X are Nothing But 9 ERS. And last but certainly not least, man, the Patreon community. Let's go. My Patreonians, man, I love you guys, man, and I can tell that you guys love me. I appreciate each and every one of you guys out there. Please head on over patreon.com/NB9ERS. All right, we have a lot of fun over there. And also, you guys can become a member of this channel. You guys can become a member of the Nothing But Niners YouTube page, all right? And you guys get some content here that other people don't get as well. So that's how it's going to be, all right? Now, we got to break this thing down here, man. We're going to start with John Lynch. John Lynch appeared on KMBR. So we are going to go ahead and introduce John Lynch to the stage, all right? And we are just going to go ahead and get right to it, man, because I'm excited for it. I really, really am. The Giants are beating the Eagles. They look like the Niners looked last week, and I love it. I like an upset, guys. I like an upset. All right, so I know you guys want to go ahead and get to it. Let me just go ahead and dark everything out here, man. This is going to be a nice, chill episode. We're going to hear what John Lynch has to say. Now, just remember, guys, when they do the KMBR bits, they go through a lot of fluff before they start actually asking questions. All right, so have a little bit of patience here. There we go. There's our black background there. Have a little bit of patience here, and let's see what they have to say with our GM, John Lynch. Here we go.
Lynch Show every Thursday, sponsored by River Islands. Come home to River Islands in Lathrop and discover the San Joaquin River lifestyle with its lakes, parks, and schools. Start your tour today at riverislands.com. John Lynch also brought to you by the good people at Friedman's Appliance. I was just out there a couple weeks ago, proudly serving all of Northern California with a wide selection of luxury appliances. Visit them in Pleasant Hill. I would recommend it to see the Friedman's
this is so
difference. John, 4-1 team, and we have. Good morning, John. How are you, man?
Hey, morning, John.
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good, and I know you're laser focused on the Bucks already, but if you would indulge us just to kind of go back in time to a week ago. Wow, John. Wow. Man, oh, man. Take us through your roller coaster that night. TV cameras did catch you, I think, at the very end on the 4th-and-1 stop, but if I ask you to take me through your emotions, what's the answer?
And just like that, they try to get us with a commercial, man. Just like that.
You know, I think it was just a really fun football game. It was a good football game. We were far from perfect, but man, we competed, and I thought players, you know, from Trent Williams, who's been doing this at the highest level for the longest time, really dug down and against a tough matchup on their D line, and Jared Verse, who's an impressive player who's just emerging as a star in this league, to Alfred Collins, found a way, and Mac Jones, we watched him go through, dealing with a number of different things and pain, and we think he blows out his knee, and it turns out, thank God, to be a cramp, getting fed bananas on the sideline, drinking pickle juice. I mean, there was a lot going on, a lot of storylines, but I think the biggest storyline was the grit that our team showed, and we found a way right down to we always talk on defense about defending every blade of grass, and I don't think that's ever been more true than when Alfred punched that ball out to the 4th-and-1 that ended the game. It was just an awesome effort, and collectively, it was a really fun locker room at the end. We understand it was just one game. It's a division game, so those, my old coach Tony Dungy, used to say that division games count double, and so we're doing really good in that respect, and that we're taking care of our division business. And we had a lot of respect for the Rams, where they're at as a football team. So much for this narrative that Matt Stafford's back is bad and he's not going to be the same player anymore. My goodness, he's as good as ever. They give a lot to deal with from Kyron.
John Lynch hears y'all talking. He hears y'all talking. Some of the content creators were pushing this whole bad back thing. He's going to be out for a while and all that stuff. And, look, listen, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody in particular. I'll throw a shot to my own people. I go on with Zach and Matt every week, and they were some of the ones saying it heading into the season, and we'll probably be playing Jimmy Garoppolo by the time we get to them and all that. Matt Stafford looks fine. So John Lynch hears it. He hears the rumors, and he's like, I don't know where you guys got this report from, but that guy is out there doing his thing.
Williams to Puka Nacua to Devontae Adams. They're a well-constructed team, and yeah, I'm talking a lot, but a lot went on that Thursday, and I was really happy and proud for our guys that they found a way to come out with a hard-fought win.
After the game on Thursday night, Fred Warner was asked about those rookies on the defensive side of the ball stepping up and making plays, and his response is, I bet John Lynch is probably going to celebrate on the plane tonight. So how was that plane ride home for you? And just kind of a big-picture recap, 5 weeks in the season, seeing those performances from Alfred Collins and Michael Williams.
Well, I celebrate any win. I mean, it's just, but it is fun to see these young guys. We had a vision for how we wanted to do it this year. That was an established core of really, really good football players, accomplished football players, players who have been to Super Bowls. But then we knew we needed to infuse some youth into this team for multiple reasons. And we did that, and these guys are showing up, and they're making plays, and they're showing that they can be counted on, and they're playing through pain. I mean, Michael Williams is dealing with stuff going into that game, and he finds a way. And C.J. West is playing with a cast on his hand, and finds a way. And so, getting a lot of contributions. So it was a fun win, and so quickly though you learn in this league, it's just okay, on to what's next. And we did get to enjoy a little extra time because of the mini bye, as we call it, and those are always sweet. We don't have our bye till week 14. It's crazy. I keep looking at our schedule until week 14, so we got a long way. So the Thursday night gave us a little mini bye and got to get away for a couple days.
Yeah. You're listening to KBR AM and KBR FM, San Francisco, the sports leader, a Cumulus media station. You know what you did during the mini buy, John, is you wrote a check for $50 million to Stanford. That was you, right? The anonymous donation, right?
That was not me. I've been sitting on that one for a while. I about a month ago, Andrew called and we were talking, and I said, man, how's the fundraising going? Because early on, we were talking, and I said, man, you gotta unleash this economic monster of Stanford alums that have just been feeling apathy for our football program, and you're the guy to do it, and Andrew was saying thanks, and then he called me one day and he goes, let's go. He was screaming in the phone. He goes, I got $50 million gift. And I said, that is so cool. And isn't it crazy that that's what we're talking about?
I know.
College football now is raising money. And yeah.
Oh, so much fun. So anyway, that you guys will spend that wisely, I'm sure. Okay, so that leads us to, obviously, you said it. You got to enjoy the win, then you have to look forward. Famously, a North Carolina Tar Heel coach once said, on to Cincinnati is what he said. So on to Tampa, right? Okay, Mac Jones. Just what he's out there doing. I guess I should start right away. There was an oblique was added to his injury report, and he was limited. Is there concern for him this weekend?
No, I think we feel pretty good about where he's going to be at. If you saw him play through that game, I mean, that was real life stuff. You saw it, and you saw toughness and grit, and you saw guys stepping up and playing through some things. But I think Mac's in good shape. Who continue to work to it by Sunday. We're hopeful and believe that he's going to be in a good spot.
Okay, so he's playing so well, and we talked to Steve Young yesterday about it, and we said, how's Brock processing all this? Brock got the money. Brock got paid. He got Stanford football donation money. He did well, right? But Steve said, it's awkward. It's awkward. He said, there's creative tension. He said, ultimately, that's a good thing. So your feeling on Brock watching Mac get all these wins, how do you think that's going to play out with the dynamic in the quarterback room?
A cool quality about Brock Purdy is he's one of the most assured people that in a very humble way. It's hard to explain, but I think it's one of the things that appeal to us. He's just very confident in his abilities, but he's just a good guy, and he's got an incredible amount of humility. Sure, there is, Steve has lived that more than anyone. So I'll never, I'll listen to him and say, all right, you're right. I've never been there, but I have been in my own situation. And yeah, it is always, you want to be the guy out there. I do wholeheartedly believe that Brock is nothing but happy for our team. He's working his tail off to try to get back. And I think we all feel blessed and fortunate that we found a guy to be our backup this year who can go in and play like a starter and earn us tough, hard-fought wins. And Mac's doing a tremendous job. It's been fun. We've talked about the process he's gone through, and you could see throughout the off-season, through training camp, the confidence build and some of those innate abilities that we saw way back in college start to come to the forefront, and it's cool to see that happen on a big stage.
We saw Mac Jones on the practice field yesterday. We did not see Brock Purdy, John. So where can you tell us about where he is in his recovery status and also the decision to not have him travel with the team last Thursday down to L.A.?
Well, I don't think that's the decision, and I understand. Yeah, he's our franchise quarterback, and so you'd expect him to travel. I think sometimes these guys just find, and our trainers and health and performance staff finds that when you travel, I think people can feel it in their own experiences. When you travel, it's not always necessarily a good thing, and things can swell. There's air pressure, all that kind of stuff. And so we also find you want to maximize every hour of treatment. And so it's not like these guys are having an extended vacation when they're here. We leave trainers back here, and we get as much work as we can, and we try to maximize the amount of treatment. Now, we always make a call with a quarterback. It's nice to have Brock for Mac sometimes to be in his ear, just like Mac will be there for Brock. But you have to weigh, okay, what's the positives, what are the negatives? We ultimately made a decision that it was best to leave Brock here. And Brock's working to the side. He's working hard to try to get back, but I think wants to get back at full strength. And, Mac probably allows that even more so because we're winning games, while he's getting healthy.
So that answers the question. A lot of people were asking, why wasn't Brock Purdy there? Where's he been? Blah, blah, blah. That answers that question right there for you guys. They didn't want to chance anything swelling and all that with travel time. So that's going to also let you guys know that Purdy's probably not flying out to this game. He's not going to be starting this game, obviously. They want to keep him for a home game. So you guys are wondering when Brock Purdy's going to return. Check that home schedule. All right.
49ers fans expect this Brock thing to last a while longer, like a few more weeks?
I don't think I can give you, like a completely accurate and direct, because I think it's just like, when is he going to feel right to go play? And when are we going to make that decision? I can tell you, although he's not on the practice field, he's out here working. He's doing a lot of things, trying to build up the strength and get that thing in a good spot. So I think he'll continue to do that, and when he's ready, he'll be ready.
So while we're on that topic, I thought maybe Kittle would get his window open, but no. Are we close with Kittle?
People come to us and their teeth are so bad that they all need to be extracted. They all need to be taken out, and they need to get brand new teeth. But traditionally, the old way of doing this, it usually can take somewhere.
I do believe we're nearing. We're getting there. There's going to be a good chance for next week. George, he got that hamstring pretty good, and it's taken some time. We want to ensure that when he comes back, he can be the George Kittle there's no governor on George Kittle if you've watched him play, and we don't want him to have to play with a governor. So, we thought maybe at some point that there might be a chance on this week. It didn't end up happening, and so I think I'm fairly confident he'll get back on the practice field next week, and then we'll see what kind of place is he in to go compete right away, or is it practice for a week? So we'll get to that probably next week when that time comes.
John, quick check-in on the wide receiver room. What can you tell us about the recovery process of Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, and Juwan Jennings?
Important questions here.
I'm looking at Brandon right now. He's out on the field. He's been working really hard. He's coming along. He's making strides. Ricky is fighting through. I think still hasn't given up hope for this week. He wasn't on the practice field yesterday. Not likely to be out there today. We'll see if he can get in on later in the week. And JJ is doing everything he can. I think he'll probably practice in a limited fashion today, and we'll see if he can make it for Sunday. So, but I'll tell you that the group as a whole, whoever has been out there, has been finding a way to make plays, and really appreciative. And gosh, Kendrick Bourne, I mean, the effort he put forth the other night, and Demarcus Robinson made some plays, Sky Moore out there, MVS as we call him, Valdez Scantling. It's been fun to watch those guys go compete, find a way, whoever's been out there, to make plays.
Yeah, we had Kendrick as our player of the week, and as you know, man, a conversation with that guy, you come away feeling energized, So he's good. He's good vibes. So
he is excellent vibes. I just love watching that guy live life. I mean, he's bouncing all day long, and he's always has a smile on his face. Has such
that
good
energy
perspective.
we were talking about with Bourne.
He's matured in his time away in a great way, but he hasn't lost that juice, that energy, and that he never should, because it's special.
Man, we'll see what he does this Sunday in Tampa. Maybe he'll repeat that kind of performance. We're for sure. John, one of the things that, it's October, which means November 4 is a few weeks away, and now you start to see it heat up. Joe Flacco gets traded. The Chargers and Ravens made a trade. Adam Schefter was on ESPN, said he anticipates a lot of trades this October. So you guys are now 4-1. You guys are now playing for something. This is not like a lost season. And you guys definitely lost Nick Bosa. That's a fact. So this is the weekly question now. Are we a week closer to you making a trade for a pass rusher?
We'll see. I'm having a lot of conversations, a lot of good and productive ones. It is a premium position, so teams don't like just letting those guys out the door when they're good football players. So you have to identify the right guy that, number one, is going to help us. Like I've been very clear. You're not going to find a player, that's going to go replace Nick Bosa and be as effective as him. That's really difficult to do. But can you find someone who makes the entirety of our group better, such that collectively we're better? That's more in line with what we're looking for. There's so many variables, and you got to find a partner that makes sense. And so all those things, but there's plenty of discussions. Right now, I'm real proud of the way, the effort our guys are playing with. And if we find a way to make our football team better and it aligns, then we will not, be shy on pulling the trigger. But we are. It's not for lack of putting in the work, and we're doing that. And if everything aligns, we'll see.
Well, as we've said a number of times, you've proven it, you've done it. So I think it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Speaking of interesting to see how things play out, sometimes, John, people call our show. We get callers. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We get Alan Livermore, we get Jose in Oakland. We get all these callers. We have a caller who just.
All right, so before he gets to that, this goes back to what we were talking about a while ago with, you can't just go out there and they need defensive tackle and they need an edge guy. So it's about which one is going to be the trade. They're probably not going to trade for both of those guys, right? It's got to be one or the other. And can you get a guy that can do both, like a Michael Williams, but someone with some NFL experience? And right now, I encourage you guys to maybe do a split screen. Watch Amazon Prime right now, because Thibodeau is a guy that his name that they've been throwing around out there from the Giants. They've got Brian Burns. And they've got another guy out there that's also getting pressure too. His name escapes me right now, but maybe the Giants are a potential trade partner for the Niners. So we'll have to see how it goes, man. If they keep winning, though, if they pull this game off, they're going to think that, if we could beat the Eagles, who are the defending Super Bowl champs, maybe we got a chance. And like John said, they're not willing to give those kind of guys up in the middle of the season. So it's going to be very interesting to see who we can find. And you guys have heard about the names in Miami and all that. So we got to see how it plays out. I'm excited.
It happens to be Tony in Tampa. Oh, and he might have been your head coach. Can we go to Tony in Tampa, please? Tony in Tampa, you're on line one. Would you like to talk to John Lynch?
I would. I heard you guys were having John
on.
Oh, my
gosh.
I thought I'd just buzz in and see, because we got a big weekend coming up, and John would remember this very, very well. 1997, the San Francisco 49ers visited us here, and it was a big game, maybe a game that turned around our city and our team. We beat the Niners that day, held Steve Young down, and it's the one that told us we had arrived. And I think we've got the same type of game coming up on Sunday.
John Lynch, this is Tony Dungy. Tony Dungy, two-time Hall of
Tony
Famer.
from Tampa. How about it? What's up, Coach?
I'm going to let you two Hall of Famers talk, all right?
I'm doing great. That put a big smile on my face. What a great surprise, man. It's been a fun week. I've been talking to all our guys. Derek Brooks. Yesterday, I got on a podcast with Rondé Barber, and we're going to have a fun little get together this weekend before the game. It's been fun watching this 50th anniversary stuff, but gosh, great memory. Not for Steve Young. I think Warren took out Steve and Jerry in that game.
Yeah. But that was a game we had finished up the year before, winning 5 of our last 7. We thought we were going to be pretty good. The Niners were the Niners. And when we ended up shutting them down and winning that game, that told us we could compete with anybody in the league. And I think that one catapulted us, John.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. And Murph and Marcus, I just tell you guys, I mean, so much of the way I live my life, my parents were incredible folks, but I don't know if, anybody, had the
playoffs 4 times together. They're great friends, fellow Hall of Famer, Tony. So, Tony, what about watching John do his thing as an executive now and his gritty team being 4-1 with all these injuries?
Well, I'm so proud of him for how he's done it and how he's built that team. And it's no surprise to me because John was a leader when he was here. He knew the whole game. He knew how to connect with people. And I'm just not surprised at all that he did that there. But I love what they've got going. And I do love the grit, that it doesn't matter. We used to have a sign in our locker room, and John would tell you, no excuses, no explanations. So they've had some injuries. They've had some problems. But it doesn't matter. You got to go out and find a way to get it done.
John, you remember that sign, right?
Oh, I remember it well. I remember it well. We lived it. We did.
Oh, man. And John, just like, the idea, like, you got to go beat the Bucks now. Is that okay? Are you and Tony going to be friends if you get the W?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
we'll still be friends. Now, my son Jordan might not be friends with him. Jordan's the biggest Bucks fan in the world, and he'll be there. And even though he loves John, I think he'll be pulling for the Buccaneers.
That's all right, Tony. My own son, when I went and played for Denver, Jake, I'll never forget, he went in a Bucks jersey. I was like, wait, I do not play for the Bucks anymore. I play for the Broncos. And I had Dad, you raised me a Bucks. I am a Bucks fan. And so he went with the jersey, and you just go with it. And I'll never forget.
Oh, here they go. They tried to sneak another one in on us.
Going to Afghanistan.
Very quickly. Boom.
Not a great memory for us, but Tony, when now coaching the Indianapolis Colts, came back. I think we were up on Monday Night Football. It was one of the great comebacks. Everybody went to bed. We were up 21 with 4 minutes left, Tony. And
35-14 with 4 minutes to go. Yep.
Yeah, and we got Peyton Manning and everything. 80 things had to happen, but that was a nice comeback for Tony. But it is always interesting going back to where you played for so long, and so many great memories, and extra special this year with the 50th anniversary and all that. But we're trying to go win a game against a real good football team.
Yeah, and the two voices you hear on the Uma Guest Line this morning are John Lynch and Tony Dungy. And here's the thing, John, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of 47 jerseys out in Tampa Bay this weekend, but I have to ask Tony, because, John, you're such a gentleman every week when you join us. Tony, what can you tell us about the real Red 47?
Well, John was, as I say, a leader and one of those special guys.
All right,
and the thing I love about him, he was tremendous for us, Hall of Fame player on the field. But he did, and that was.
Let's get to what we came for. I think that's going to do it.
Look back, just walks back to the huddle. And when he came to the sideline, I said,
Tony, we've had you on our show a number of times through the years, but we have John weekly, and he will frequently bring you up. In fact, I think earlier, I'm not even kidding you, Tony, earlier in our interview this morning, he brought you up. So you are constantly an influence on his life, and I know you know that, and you guys are great friends. Well, so hopefully you'll be able to see each other.
We had some tremendous times, and as I said, I am super proud of him. Can't wait. And I do believe this. I think whoever wins this game Sunday, these two teams are going to face each other in the playoffs, and whoever wins That's where the game's going to be. So it's a huge game.
Yeah, it is a kind of a big one. I agree with you, Tony. There's going to be some implications
Tony,
here.
are you there Sunday or are you working? You're
I
gone,
have to
right?
work, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
my son and my family will be there with their red
Tell them to
47
come say hi,
jerseys
please.
on.
All right.
Yeah.
They're going to wrap it up here.
All right.
Good stuff. Thank you, Coach Dungy. And John, we'll let you go. And
we're going to go ahead and get to the next people up here, okay? And that was a cool little presser there, right? John Lynch talking. He shared some very good thoughts. If you guys are on social media, I'm sure you've seen some of the clips and the quotes and all that stuff, but a lot of people don't know where to go and find it. So that's why we do these breakdowns here. Not the most energetic of shows or anything like that. It's more listening than it is talking for me, and I try to interject when I can. I'm really anxious for this trade deadline, man, and the move that the Niners are going to make. They have to do something, though. They have to do something. So I think that we're going to be okay. I do. Now the question is, how soon do they make that move? And I think that this game is going to be more about evaluating this defensive line and seeing just which position in particular they need to go out there and get. The issue is that there's so many injuries along the defensive line that we can't say anything definitively. They can use any help that they can get right now. So John Lynch has got his hands full. All right, he's got his hands full. He's going to have to go out there and find a way to make this work, man. All right, so I have some comments here that I want to talk about really quick before we get to the next presser. And this first one here is from Blackbeard. He says, if we make it to the Super Bowl this year, this team is ahead of schedule. I agree. I don't think that a lot of people have this pegged as a Super Bowl contender. Most of the national people didn't have us winning the division. And that's fine, right? The division's by far not ours right now. A lot too many games left right now for us to say that, with any kind of conviction, right? Like, oh, we got the division locked up. No, far from it. Way, way, way too many games left. And it helps that we're undefeated in the division so far, but we got to run it all back against these guys. We got to run it all back against them. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The good news is that we play Seattle and the Rams at home in the second half of the season. So that should help us out a little bit, right? Get us going at home a little bit. But we got to see how it goes, all right? Let me go ahead and bring in Robert Saleh. Oh, wait. So, I do want to get this other comment here also. Demo says here, let's get Cam Jordan from the Saints. And I don't see the Saints letting him go. I know that a lot of people want to see that happen, and I understand why. The savvy vet, he's going to come in and just do his job, right? Like that's obvious. You want him for his production and all that stuff and what he can bring to the locker room. But Cam Jordan just feels like a Saints for life. I just don't think that I don't think they're going to let him go. I think it would be a little bit of a disservice for them to trade him in his final season, or maybe he's got another year after this, but I don't think that they would trade him. It would be kind of a slap in the face to what he's given to that organization all these years. Not that I don't think he would benefit us at all. He would, but I just don't see them. I just don't see them pulling that trigger for Cam Jordan. And when I say them, I'm talking about more so the Saints than anybody else. All right. Let's get Robert Saleh and Klay on here now. It's going to start with Robert Saleh, of course. Let's go full screen. And let's bring them up here. All right, ladies and gentlemen. And here we go.
What were your initial impressions?
All right, here we go.
So, guys, what were your initial impressions of just watching tape on Mustafa and then? What were your initial impressions of just watching tape on Mustafa, and then what has it been like kind of working with him here this week?
Yeah, he's his tape from last year was pretty impressive for a rookie. A violent, fast trigger football player, and we've only had a couple days with him now, but he's made of the right stuff. That's for damn sure.
Robert, Mika Ibuka, I hope I'm saying that right. What is it about him, or what skill set does he have that's given him so much success so early?
He's powerful for such a young man. Powerful hands, and obviously he's playing with a lot of confidence. You give a young guy a lot of confidence, and then the sky's the limit. So, and they're doing a good job with him too, putting him in positions to be successful. And Baker is playing at a level that's MVP quality, and so for him, like I said, big, strong, confident football player. Yeah.
Robert, I'm surprised the pass rush hasn't been as good without Nick Bosa. I mean, has it been at an acceptable level in your estimation?
We'll continue to grow. It's I'm not hitting any panic buttons. There's a lot of young guys in there still trying to find their way through the NFL. I thought even against the Rams, felt like Huff was just a breath away from ending the game a couple of times there in the fourth quarter. But can it be better? Absolutely. Could it be worse? Absolutely. But I'm not at that point where we're going to panic. We're going to keep working with these young guys and giving them opportunities to rush the passer, and they'll get better as the year goes.
Robert, there's some numbers that show that Mikael Williams might be the fourth most double defensive lineman in the league. Well, how is he handling those doubles, and is that what you're seeing? Yeah,
he's doing a great job. He is. He's from a run perspective, he's doing a really nice job setting edges. And there's like him and Alfred, for example. They're still trying to find their ways as pass rushers. There's times where Alfred, being the big man that he is looks like he's trying to play finesse, and there's times where Mikael's trying to run through people, and just having that change up where Mikael might have to play a little finesse and Alfred might run through somebody's face. It's just they're learning their style, they're learning what works for them, and the cool thing is that they've got tremendous intent. They play with tremendous strain. They're smart. They're upbeat. So like I said, we're excited to work with them. They'll continue to get better.
It's been a week since the Rams game, but can you go back and just reflect on the fourth down stop and just whatever you told the guys going into that specific play and your view of how it unfolded?
No, it was. I've been asked. First off, much respect to those guys. Stafford, Sean McVay, and Michael LaFleur, they outstanding job from a game plan standpoint, putting themselves in the position they put themselves in. And, we played it like short yardage, figured call our best short yardage call. They were going to call their best short yardage call. And to be honest, like that play that Sean ran, I don't want to speak for him, but based on our calculations, the success rate was ridiculously high when they run that play. And even if you knew what was coming, they still manage. They ran one earlier in the game where Upton hit it 2 yards in the backfield, and Kyron Williams still freaking got the first, or the back still got the first down. So it was one of those back and forths. I remember the first go around when we called timeout, we had 4 DNs on the field, so we needed to burn a timeout. And then obviously we got our personnel out there playing with a short yardage mentality. They hard count and call timeout, thought maybe, okay, they're going to kick the field goal. They still sent the group out there, and, just talking to Kyle, I said, hey, Kyle, based on the look, might need one. They broke the huddle and lined up the way they did and said, all right, we're going to let it ride, see what happens. And credit to the guys, man. They made a heck of a play, triggered, played fast, and luckily we came on the right side of it.
So to go back a couple of questions there, they asked him, has the pass rush been up to your standards? He didn't want to go out there and say no, but it was a very, very polite way of saying no. What Robert Saleh said was, it's a lot of rookies out there, so I'm not hitting the panic button. Okay, that sounds good, feels good, and I understand why you say something like that. But the pass rush itself has been a disappointment. You can't just pinpoint it on one person, though. It's kind of what he was getting at. They had the 1 sack on, I believe, our opening drive, and then that was it for the rest of the game. You know what I'm saying? So they need some help, and it's obvious to everybody that's watching, right? So it's not, we need help stopping the run. We need help, getting all that stuff going, getting pressures on the quarterbacks consistently. And you got a guy they talked about it. The next question, that he's the fourth most double team player in the entire NFL in Michael Williams, right? And that's without Bosa on the field. What if Bosa was on the field? What if we did have a really good guy out there to help, right? It should be creating more opportunities. And so don't be surprised if the Niners go out and get a pass rushing defensive tackle. You know, we keep looking at edge guys. It could end up being an interior guy if Michael Williams is going to continue to eat up those double teams and give a pass rushing defensive tackle some one-on-ones up the middle, right? You know, it's the shortest distance to the quarterback. It's a straight line. So maybe they end up going after a defensive tackle. I know that everyone's saying edge, you know. That's Steven Rodriguez. He says here, soon as edge, you know, soon as defense pass rusher. I'm assuming he's talking about an edge guy, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that. So there's certain things that you can take advantage of. And if Michael Williams is going to continue to be doubled that way, you can move him around a little bit and let him eat up those double teams and free up some space for other guys. So we'll see how it goes.
Moved inside there right before the snap. I saw when I'm watching the tape, Lucas and Fred really seemed keyed and ready to respond to that. Is that film study over the course of the week? Were they looking for that indicator?
It was one of those take a shot deals. Like, you know, there was, like I said, it was one of their best plays, and they're very, very successful at it. And you know, it was one. I think it was the third or fourth time we saw it. So they, you know, credit to again our guys. They triggered, they took their shot, and they ran that play. So
quoted as saying, "Get in the C gap and F it up." I mean, do they have that?
When you run that play, the C gap is everything.
So they have that kind of initiative, though, to recognize that and say, "You do that," and
absolutely. And these young men are smart. You know, you give them the information, but they still have to film study. They're still out there feeling those bullets being shot, especially those young guys, to be able to recognize that and trigger and play as fast as they did to create that knockback. Fred playing into that C gap, creating the initial knockback was critical, and then Siegel just triggering from his depth to finish it off and keep it from falling forward. It was a tremendous team effort.
Okay, now at this point, Robert Saleh's been on for over 5 minutes, and they haven't asked a single question about Tampa. And this is where I start to get annoyed with our beat writers, right? Like, we're talking about last Thursday now, and this presser's from today. So here we are a week later, and they've not asked any questions to our defensive coordinator about stopping this Bucs team. You know, we heard John Lynch and Tony Dungy talking about these teams are likely to see each other again in the postseason, right? Well, let's go ahead and get to it. Like, let's start talking about the game plan. I mean, now, obviously, you're not going to get game plan answers, right? But, like, talk about the difficulties and what we're facing here. Let's turn the page now, guys. Like, this is when I need our beat writers. They're like, all right, guys, 5 minutes is a long time to be reflecting when you only got them for 7 or 8 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll be lucky if you get them for 10 minutes out there. So let's do something here. The video itself is 21 minutes long, but that's dead space and all that stuff and the time in between. So we gotta turn this page here now. Like, let's get to week 6. Like, come on, let's go. Let's get to it.
Nightmare a few weeks ago. The other stop, not that fourth down stop, the other stop with Alfred Collins, Christian McCaffrey, and Fred Warner both saying that was the best play that they had ever seen. Have you ever seen a guy, let alone a rookie, make a play like that, a stop like that, given the circumstance? And did that make Alfred that much more impressive, given his slow start?
So Alfred, you know, like one, that was probably one of the coolest individual efforts I've ever seen in a game of football. I mean, he splits a double team, and a cool side note to Alfred is during the evaluation process, we talked about how Alfred gives us something that we haven't really had since Buckner or Armstead. It's just a guy with tremendous length to be able to make those plays where he's just sprawling out and making a play that most D linemen in this league can't make. And it showed up there, the amount of strain and individual effort that it took for him to split the double team and just violent punch out. Is probably one of the coolest and most impressive individual efforts I've seen from an interior D lineman that close to the goal line. So that clip will be on teach tapes for a very, very, very long time. I could promise that. But you know, Alfred, he did get off to a slow start in training camp, but that young man, he's made of the right stuff. His day in and day out attitude, his work ethic, his strain, all of it. I mean, it's important to him. He loves this game, and he's going to be a problem. He'll continue to grow, and he's going to be a big problem in this league if he keeps the same mindset and the trajectory that he's going on.
You had a nightmare a few weeks ago that the Saints were going to light you up. How often do you have football nightmares, and what often happens in them?
I have nightmares all the time, man. I think I was up last night. I mean, I came home I got home at like midnight, and there was like 3 of my babies sitting in the sleeping in the bed, and I was like, where the hell am I going to sleep? I was cuddling sneak into the corner of the bed, and just stare at the ceiling for a couple hours. And my mind is always racing and thoughts of trying to help our guys be in the best position possible. Some good ideas, some bad ideas, but that's the hard part of being a football coach. I mean, cortisol levels are always high, so.
These nightmares include Egbuka this week.
A lot of Baker, a lot of their skill guys, their backs, all of them. They do an outstanding job, and that Baker, like I said, he's playing at an MVP level. He makes that whole thing go, and again, credit to all the young guys who are stepping up with all the injuries that they're having. They're doing a really nice job putting up a lot of points on a lot of really good defenses.
Can you think of any other times in your career where your defense has gone on the road and the opposing offense has had to go to a silent count like the Rams did a couple of times on Thursday?
Yeah, I feel like that's been the case at any time we go down there. You know, it's in 2019 it was the Coliseum, and it felt the same way. It was COVID the next year, but no, not like that. You know, SoFi, that was my first experience with fans in SoFi. Because if you guys remember, my only game in SoFi had been the COVID game. So, but no, it's pretty cool. We travel. I joke around. I say that the most Niner fans can't. We're so expensive to live in the Bay. It's probably cheaper to go to a road game. But it's good to see how much our fans travel. They're second to none.
It's on the other side of the line, but Adrian Martinez, what have you seen from him in his growth from when you had him in Jets versus now?
Yeah, Adrian's cool, man. If anyone gets a chance to spend a couple of days with Adrian, you come away impressed. And if you really think about it, everywhere he's gone, he's won. He won in college.
His questions are driving me crazy.
He was MVP in the UFL, and I've always said all it takes is an opportunity, and what you do with your opportunity is what's going to create your path, if you will. And it's awesome to have Adrian here. You guys know how I feel about Kyle and his staff. I think they're the best in the world, and so he's getting an opportunity to be with some of the greatest coaches and in a really cool room with Mac and Brock and all those guys. So he's got a chance to do something cool, and if he ever gets his opportunity to step on the field, I think he's going to do awesome.
As far as game planning, how much of a resource is Kyle, and vice versa? How much do you pitch in with the offensive game plan?
Pitch in? No. I'd probably ruin it, but no. My conversations with Kyle, we're always going back and forth, talking ball. He's probably one of the cooler ones to talk to, and it's not to have that resource at your disposal and not use it would be silly on my part. So.
One question.
Alfred, real quick. He had mentioned after the game that the play that he got the punch on, it was similar to something he saw earlier in the game. And
This is a problem. This is a problem. One question about the Bucs so far: have you had any nightmares about Egbuka? Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are we doing? Do we not want to have any questions? All right, you got a couple of guys that got banged up out there. What's that defensive line rotation looking like here? And how confident are you in the next guys coming up? Like, who have you seen that is probably going to get some opportunities in this game? Like, there's plenty that you can ask about. That secondary is going to have their hands full. Yeah, they're a little banged up with their wide receivers, but Egbuka has been going out there and doing his thing against no matter who they're playing. So how do you feel about that? And there's so much that they could be asking. And they're back to Alfred Collins again. And it's cool. Robert Saleh just said everything positive you could possibly say about this young man. And they're back on him again. I just don't get it. He talked about his strain and his love for the game and all that stuff. And all right, let's go back to Alfred Collins one more time, just because, we can do that here. Like, why not, right? Like, come on, bro.
Game that the play that he got the punch out on, it was similar to something he saw earlier in the game, and he kind of overran it. Just in terms of his mental growth and recognizing things in real time and making adjustments like that. How has he maybe improved?
All of them. I had a really cool conversation with Upton Stout on the in practice today. He was asking how he can feel routes when we're 99. We want 99.9 vision on the quarterback, and he's like, "Well, I'm also responsible for these routes. How do I feel them? How do I do that?" And my answer to him was simply reps. Eventually, you get to the point where you recognize formations, you recognize indicators, you recognize from film study on how teams like to attack us as a defense that you just know what the route is, so you can play. You're playing routes without ever having to see them because you feel, you can see the quarterback, you see the mannerisms, and that's where you get faster and faster and faster. But and that's kind of the whole thing with our scheme. People say we don't do a lot, but what we do it very, very fast, and it's very, very sound. And it's fast because our guys get to the point where they just know what's happening to them, so they can go faster. And that's where Upton's at. That's where Alfred's at. That's where all these rookies are. They're still learning, and they need reps to be able to gather information, gather feel of football, start understanding how teams attack us, how teams block us, how teams come at us on a play-in, play-out basis. And once they get to that point of true understanding, that's when you see their ultimate speed.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, good. Thanks, guys.
Fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, and this is what they this is what they give us, right? Like, it's just like, okay, let's just keep asking questions about last week. One question about the upcoming Week 6 game. You get to talk to this coach one time before the game. Just once. And the question that you ask is, have you had any nightmares about their top wide receiver? Unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable. All right, whatever.
Good afternoon. Fire away.
Where is Adrian Martinez at in grasping the playbook, and if he has to go in for some reason?
Yeah, let's ask about the backup quarterback again.
Super impressed with Adrian since he's been here. He's a really smart guy. You can tell he's gotten a little more reps just because of the, Mac kind of progressing a little bit through the week, and Adrian hasn't missed a beat. He's been on it, and I feel like Adrian can go out there and run our offense. So really confident in him.
So there wouldn't be any limitation in the plays that you could call. He's got the full playbook.
Yep, 100%.
What's Brock Purdy's contribution to the game plan and getting Mac up to speed to play?
Yeah, I think just Brock's presence every day in the meeting rooms. Brock's been through our process of preparing for games and how we install and how we watch film and all those things. And he can he's just helpful to those guys, and kind of sharing his process and talking to guys about what he sees in a defense, kind of how he would do things. So just his presence, his experience, just kind of being words of wisdom for Mac and for Adrian. That's really all he can do in terms of helping those guys prepare and then just being there to support them. So.
We were watching film on a guy like Mac before you signed him. You can envision how he's going to fit, just stylistically, but in terms of toughness, things that you can't see until you get up close to him. What have you learned about him and what you've seen from him so far?
I think that's very true. You don't really know until you get a guy and you see him play. And I think we all knew Mac was a tough player. I think we didn't have any assumption he wasn't. But when you see a guy go out there and battle and work through the injuries and get hit and stay in the game when it's not looking good, or when when we have to come from behind in a 2-minute drill, like all those things, and you learn a lot about a guy. And Max just keeps proving time and time again that he's made of the right stuff, and he's built to play quarterback in this league. So it's been pretty.
I got a question for you. The run game hasn't been as explosive as it has been in past years, especially when Christian McCaffrey's been healthy. Do you see anything on defense that maybe you guys could take advantage of, and maybe we finally get a big explosive from one of your running backs? I think the longest rush this year is 18 yards, and that was by Robinson. Do you think that there's any opportunities that you guys can take advantage of in this upcoming game? How's that? Let me help him out a little bit.
Cool.
last week, how close did you think? Did you think you were going to have to go to Adrian there?
I think for a moment we were all pretty scared, when he was down, and then he popped up and jogged off, and we're like, all right, we took a breath. But, so, yeah.
Nick Saban was saying last week that when he had Mac at Alabama, he called him Mac in a row because of his high school tennis background, but also because he was prone to going off. If he made a bad throw or he did something bad and he was throwing like almost mini tantrums, and I don't know if he was exaggerating, but I'm curious, is there any part of that still with him now, or is he totally...
No, I mean, Mac's very competitive, and you do see it in those moments where he might miss a throw or somebody was off on a play. And he just has a passion, and it can come out, sometimes, and we love it. I mean, it's part of what makes him who he is. It makes him a competitor. It makes him, he's very detailed, and he likes things very detailed. And he's hard on himself. He's hard on his teammates. And that's what we like about him. As far as the tennis thing goes, it's funny you say that because we happen to think, the way a guy moves in tennis and Mac's tennis background can help you as a thrower, the way you move in a pocket. There's similarities. And, it's both of those are true.
What have you seen as far as the interaction between Kyle and Robert as far as, game planning and back and forth, and how much of a resource they are for each other?
Coach Saleh?
They just asked Saleh the same fucking question. He was like, I don't get involved with the offensive game plan. I'd probably ruin everything. Why do you have to ask Kubiak that question now? Like, this is the bullshit that I'm talking about with this. Like, they just hyper focus on one fucking question and keep asking it over and over. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, I mean that's really cool to be a part of and to see, just the way that they both kind of share their knowledge and experience with each other. Kyle kind of sharing things he's seen from an offensive perspective to help him and vice versa. And Coach Saleh is helpful to me. We talk all the time. We just kind of share what we're seeing with our opponents, and it's a great working relationship. And I've benefited from it. Our whole team has, so it's good.
Tampa has a really good run D, but Seattle ran for over 6 yards a carry last week. What did the film show when you watched? How did they have success?
Yeah, they hit a few big.
Let's go. We finally got a good question. There it is. They got a good run defense, but Seattle was over 6 yards a carry. What have you seen? Thank you.
Carry last week. What did the film show when you watched? How did they have success?
Yeah, they hit a few big ones. I think they had a couple carry. I know they had like a 30-yard carry. Walker maybe had like another 21. So they had a few explosives, so that adds up. They did some stuff to kind of, I think, wear down Tampa a little bit just by staying on the field. So just kind of, the fatigue caught Tampa on a drive or two that allowed them to run the ball. But, they're the number one run defense in the league for a reason. They're big, they're physical, they do things schematically that really can shut down your run game. So yeah, we see some things that Seattle did that you'd love to do, but we know they're going to be ready to go and ready to stop the run. So it's going to be a big challenge.
How much is what Kendrick Bourne has done on the field to give you confidence in what can happen going forward?
Yeah, I mean, he just gets better every week. He's a gamer. He's still, you see a guy who's still learning to grasp our offense schematically, but he gets better every week, and he's such a joy to be around because he's all in. He's got a great attitude. He works at it, and I think he's a guy who's just, the more he's out there, the more he's going to help us. And so really excited about what he's done, what we hope he can keep doing. So
is this chemistry with Mac evident on the field and not just in games, but at practice throughout?
Yeah, you can tell they have a good relationship. They have the history. You can just tell they can talk to each other in the game too. When I think KB had the drop and Matt can just go to him and just communicate and get him dialed in for the next play. And it's really cool. And we kind of knew that about them. They had a relationship in the past. So, I'm glad it's working out for us now.
The injury setback, but how would you assess how Connor Colby has done?
Connor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Connor's done a good job. He's like a lot of rookies. There's ups and downs, and there's plays you'd want to have back. There's things he can do better. He's battling through some stuff, but a lot of guys are. So Connor's just about getting better every week and learning from the film. We're coaching him hard. He's playing hard. But it's like anybody else. You got to learn from the previous game. You got to keep getting better. And I think the more he's out there, he's going to keep getting better. So, yeah.
Kyle, over the last few years, he talks more about the rushing attempts than the rushing yards and how important they are. And even in the last game, we like 70-some yards on 30 carries. You know, that doesn't look good, but how important are those attempts to sort of, you know, keep the defense honest?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the last game, we didn't have good yards, but we had the attempts, which means we're on the field. We're staying on the field, you know, and we're converting some third downs and we're sustaining some drives. And even though the runs aren't producing what we want them to, we're still able to get those. And even if they're 4-yard runs, 3-yard runs, they still have that effect on the defense, you know. And so that is a positive. But
they asked this question to Kyle, and he answered it damn near verbatim already. Like, I just don't get the urge to ask the same question over and over, no matter who you're in front of. You got the fucking answer already. You got the answer already. Yeah, we're not getting the yards, but the attempts means that we were staying out there, we were converting third downs, and it helps where's the defense. Like, we got the answer already. Why do we keep doing this over and over?
do we want to keep getting better? Yeah. Do we want to have more yards? Yes. But anytime you can stay on the field, whether it be throwing the ball or not, you're going to get those attempts, and that means you're moving the ball. And so it doesn't always work out that way, but that's how it did work out on Thursday, you know. So we want to we want to get more production on the ground, but as long as we're staying on the field, we're going to keep trying. So
what are the characteristics of a Bulls defense? I know he brings a lot of pressure, but what does it look like?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of pressure. You said it. You know, it starts with just the experience of the guys who are running the show. I mean, you look at Levante David in the back end, you know, and you got Vita in the front, and just guys who've been there, and those core guys. They run that scheme very well. They've been doing it for years, so they have a lot of confidence in each other. They're tough to go against. They're very physical. You know, they challenge you with pressures. They challenge you with man coverage. They get after you on third down with blitzes, and so you know they're a defense that can make a lot of plays, and you got to be ready for all that stuff. And it's the challenge of the week, and it's what we're getting ready for. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I guess only one person was willing to ask the good questions here, and I'll be damned. Like he deserves credit. I don't even know who that was, but great kudos to him, because someone needed to ask the questions pertaining as it pertains to the upcoming game. I mean, we do have a game this week, guys. Like we're not still holding on to week 13, right? Kyle and them, they say it right after the game. We get, instead of just one day to, dwell on the loss or the win after a Thursday night game, you get 3 days. Why are they asking about it so much later? Blackbeard says he thinks it was Kruger. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't recognize his voice like that. So, and that's cool, right? But someone had to attempt to turn the page, and he only got to ask 2 really good questions, but only 2 of them, right? Like, thank God for him showing up at this presser. I probably would have just stopped doing these. Like, this is our media just needs so much more help. I think they want to be friends and be liked, and so they don't want to ask those kind of questions. But it's not like you're dwelling on losses. It's not like you're dwelling on anything negative. This is all about the upcoming game. You're not going to offend anybody by asking good questions about your upcoming opponent. You get Robert Saleh out there, and there was 1 question asked about their offense. 1. You had 2 questions asked about their defense when you're talking to the offensive coordinator, and they were both by the same person. Anyways, I don't have much to take away from it, because this was a big reflection of a Thursday thing. So I'm not going to waste your guys' time. They're about to be at halftime in this Giants-Eagles game. It is a very, very entertaining game. So I encourage you guys to go and watch it, man. Sorry I couldn't give you guys a little bit more, some more juice or anything like that. I got nothing to give when that's giving me to work with. So thank you all out there for watching and sticking with me. You guys are A+. I sincerely appreciate you guys. And again, we are going to be highlighting supporters of the channel. We're going to be highlighting those guys very, very soon. So make sure you guys are locked in, and I'm hoping to get some of you guys on the show. All right, I'm going to try to do this once a week. Bring people in. Blackbeard would love to get you on as one of the people as well in the upcoming weeks. All right, that's going to do it for us today, though. Here at Nothing But Niners. I hope you guys were entertained by something. So maybe I just got to start putting my whole game plan together myself and forget these pressures, man. I don't know. But that's going to do it, man. I love and appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys go over to patreon.com/NB9ERS. Become a member, $5 tier and up. You guys get to watch the games with us. We will be in there this week as we take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, man. I mean, we are battling. We are in constant battle for first place in the NFC. Right now, we're there due to tiebreakers and division matches and all that stuff, but it is by no stretch of the imagination ours, and is anything locked up or secured. So make sure you guys get there, man, and let's have some fun, all right? I love and appreciate each one of you guys. I say it a lot because I sincerely mean it, all right? Prepare for glory, anticipate pain, but always remain faithful.
We all gas, no brakes, pumped up, no fakes. We spinning, we winning, we high stakes. We never miss, we all makes. Look at us dudes trying to prove, bringing you news with nothing to lose. Mike, Nick, Tony, Wayne, Method Man, we bring the pain. Hey, see, I'ma confess it. We under the pressure. If you looking to find us, we them nothing but Niners. Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but Niners. We nothing but. We them nothing but Niners.